Logan from the Woolsey Farm channel here, and it's 6 days since the last video. As you can see behind me and all around me, the house is finally insulated and I'm so happy about it. Except for the fact that last week it was 4 degrees outside and this week it's 42 right now. So anyway, here's the tool that I was waiting for, so now I can make all my connections. As you can see, these vice grips here grab onto the tubing and hold it tight. And then as the tubing is in the slot here, you cut out the middle, put your T in, and then you squeeze the handles and it forces the tubing onto the T, which is gonna make things hopefully a lot easier. All right, so here's our first connection made right there. You can see it's got a rubber grommet with a little 90-degree elbow that comes out of the top of it, and then it screws in tight down at the bottom. And that gives it a tight seal. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go down the main line here and put all the bottom connections in, and then one by one I'll work up the lines and tee them and put a drop line off to a tap. So on to the next one. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is just hold the tubing out here roughly at the right length that we want to make it. It's right about here. We're going to take our clippers and cut it right there. Let's figure out where straight it is, which looks right about there. So I'll just put a little bit of a scratch in it and I can let that go. Then we take our 7/16 bit and we go right through the top. Nice and easy. Get those little burrs off there. Then we can put this clamp around here. As you can see, there's a little rubber grommet inside of it. That rubber piece comes out, and then this is the plastic. So we're just going to take that and force that into this hole here. Needs to be a little bit wider. So if you just oval the drill around and use the edges of the drill bit, it can just increase the size of the hole by just a little bit, which hopefully will be just enough right there. And it snaps right in nice and tight, and you can feel it. Then you come around at the bottom and use the little beads there to clamp it that are hanging off the bottom, and then you can get your screw started that goes in the bottom. But here's the cool thing about this tool. Not sure if you can see it all the way over here. So what I'm gonna do is, let me grab the camera. So here's the end of the tube. So I'm gonna take that, I'm gonna open this all the way up, leave myself enough room in there to get the elbow in, and I'm gonna clamp it with the vice grips while these are wide open. Then I take the 90-degree elbow and just line it up like this so that when I squeeze these handles together, it's gonna push the tube in and the elbow in. So I'm trying not to get my hands in the way of this. And then just nice and easy, and there we go. If you were to try and push that in by hand, I think it would be nearly impossible. So these fittings are really tight, as it should be, because you don't want air leaks. So then we'll come back over here, and right here we just come over the top, force this line in just like that. There we go. So now we can come behind it with a screw that goes right through the bottom there, and that connection's all set. Okay guys, there you can see I made the first T connection for the drop line to come off of. So it's going to come from here and obviously go upward towards the tap. So now that this is set, I'm going to show you how to assemble the drop line and leave it ready for when you're coming out to tap. Okay guys, so you can see I got a length of tubing, roughly about, I would say 30 inches long. And you can cut it depending on the size of the tree. If you want to get farther around the tree, then make it bigger. So then here's the tap, the 5/16 tap. You can see this one's got a rib, that's the water line side. And this other one here goes into the tree, just like that, up on an angle. So what we're gonna take is we have the tubing that's cut short in this. Then we're gonna take this piece like this, get it started in the tube just a little bit. And then we're gonna come with this piece of tool here and just slide it on nice and easy. Oop. We slide this in a little bit closer. And there we go. Okay, then once you have it buried like that, we're gonna go up to the T and we're gonna do the same thing with this end. We're gonna cut it closer to length now that I have the tap on there, and I can hold this roughly where I want to tap the tree. Then I'll come back and cut this end, put it in the clamp here on this side, then come around the back side of the T that's already on the tree and just squeeze it into it, and that should be ready. Okay guys, so here it is. There's the tap for the tree, and there's the T. And the reason why it's so high up in the air is because you can see the grade behind me is probably above 45 degrees, probably I would say close to 50. So then when you come down to the main line, and that needs to be at least 5 feet tall because 300 feet down there, we're gonna be into a container that's roughly 3.5 feet tall. So this has to be high because of the pitch difference. So the trees that are also on the bottom, that are on the way to the main line, I obviously have to hit higher up to make sure gravity continues feeding the sap line. So then once you have this like this, not sure how well you can see that, you can loop this tap end back around, and that's what the back side of this T right here is for. That just sticks right on there, just like that. And so now when you come out to tap, you're all ready. You just drill the hole, insert the tap, and hammer away, and that reduces the amount of tools that you need at one time. So obviously in the off season, you could come around and put new drop lines on everything and be ready, which I'm not. So we'll keep going. All right guys, I'm about 42 taps in. You can see I just have the taps looped up on the back side of the T there for all the maple trees. So I think there's about one more down there too, maybe 3 more, and then I'm gonna call that it for today, and I'll be drilling them tomorrow. All right, here we are guys. I probably got 45, I would say, taps in today. And you can see they're just looped up on the maple tree that they go next to. And then tomorrow morning I'll come out and do the actual tapping of the tree. Some of the bigger ones have 2 on them. Others just have 1. Like this is a pretty good sized tree, it has 2. And that's just about it guys. Hope you enjoyed this part of the video, and I'll get tomorrow doing the tapping. Okay guys, part 2 of the video. Yesterday was like 45 and today it's like 15, so it's freezing out here, but I'll just show you quick. Here's my Sap Storage Container. It's actually a water tote, I think for cows or something, but it's food grade plastic, so it'll work. And you can see here, I just took some scrap corrugated tin that I had, and underneath screwed 2 pieces of plywood together and then screwed the metal down to it. And then you can see the pipe coming off the tree is just gonna fit hopefully right into that airspace there. And I'll fill this tub up, and then I have a pump that goes on my drill, So I'll come down here and use the pump to take it from this tank into the tank that's on the quad and then bring it up to the sap house. And I thought about just pumping it from here to the sap house, but let's see, if you look behind me, right up there, the little tan building is the sap house, but it would need to be such a strong pump to get it up the hill behind me, because it's probably, I would say, 80 feet vertically and maybe 150 feet in length of pipe that I would need. And the other thing I did, guys, was just this tote. Ooh, underneath here, you can see it has holes up through the bottom for some type of a lid. So I also drilled holes, as you can see right there, through the roofing and used a rebar tie. You can see it has a round end on them, and that's meant for a special hook tool that goes together and it ties the rebar together. But what I did is I opened up one end of it to make it straight with just a loop on top, and I put the loop on the top side and just bent this around the tub so that when I come down here to check it, I can just pop these off and then lift the top off, just like that. All right, guys, we're headed out. There's Lulu going to help me. Headed out to go start tapping the trees. It warmed up a little bit. It's probably about 19 degrees now. 1 o'clock on Super Bowl Sunday. And it's gonna warm up at the end of this week, so now's a good time to get her started. Boy, this thing is like a sheet of ice again. It got so warm yesterday, it melted. You can see there's the footprints from yesterday. It melted just enough to make this thing a sheet of ice. What do you say, Lauren? You want to try walking down that? Sure. Be careful. Oh, don't take the easy way out. Walk on the other stuff. It's slippery. All right, guys, we got some ice cleats after Lauren's little spill. And here's our first maple that we're gonna start with. As you can see on the line here, I have 2 taps that are already prepped. So I'm gonna pull one off, one of the drop lines. And I'm just gonna see roughly where I can place it and still have the line going downhill. Over here, looks somewhere about there is good. Other thing you wanna look for, guys, is any cracks or imperfections in the tree. The other thing is moss and lichen, which are those little gray spots a lot of times you'll see on the tree. Those form when water is constantly running down one area. Doesn't matter as much with sap lines, but if you're using buckets, you want to avoid the areas that have a lot of water coming down on them, because all it's going to do is dilute the sap and it'll be longer cook time. So here we go. You can see on this drill bit here, I have an 1.5 inch mark all the way around it. And the reason for that is the best flow of sap is actually on the outer rings of the tree, because that's where the new growth is, and that's where most of the fluid is being sucked up and down. The other thing is to not hurt the tree. The deeper you go, the bigger scar it's going to leave. And overall, as you work around the tree and you get back to this spot, if you're going super deep, by the time you go super deep again, the following 10 years later, you're going to hit the old hole again and no sap is going to come out of it, or at least no good sap. So we're just going to find a nice spot on this tree. We'll go right about here. You only want to go on an upward angle just a very little bit. You don't want it flat and you don't want it super steep. You just want, I would say, maybe 5 or 10 degrees of an angle, just slightly upwards. Go in until the 1.5 inch mark. Clear out the hole. And then we're gonna take a rubber mallet, because these are plastic taps. With the old 7/16 taps, obviously I'd use my hammer. It's like an extension of my hand. But this, we're gonna have to use a rubber mallet. And we'll just tap it in. Just like that, until it's snug, not coming out. And that's it. That tap's ready to go. On to the next one. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the second part of tapping the trees video. Obviously, this is my first time with the tubing, so nothing really came out perfect the way I'd like it, but it's just going to take time. It's a learning curve, and I'm right at the bottom of that curve. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, follow, and subscribe on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. If you have anything you want to see, anything you want me to go over better in detail, drop it in the comments and I'll get back to you. Thanks guys.